absolutely divine action happening.
Sure was. So I kind of received my own little calling. So this January I'd started in life coaching with the 20-hour intensive weekend, which for anybody who hasn't been in a 20-hour sweet high intensive weekend, try drinking out of a fire hose. It hits you fast. It hits you.
He came home with like his eyeballs peeled back, going, I think I finally understand what you're talking about.
I know what you mean now. Let me just take a nap for a minute. It was rough, but it was a great experience. So I enrolled in the 80-hour after that.
Yeah.
And within about 2 weeks of that, I was able to digest the weekend.
Yes.
And I was able to apply some of these things, and the fast results I received in my marriage with the communication.
It was amazing.
It was amazing. It was like night and day. I truly understood what Kristen was talking about when she came home.
Yes.
And when she told me, well, in school it was this. I understood the concept of, well, a little better, the concept of listening. Now, that was something that I did wrestle with a bit. Most of the time when I was listening, what I had to say to the other person, while they were saying to me.
You were getting ready to get and I suffered to the same thing with, we're so busy worried about what we're going to say in our defense, we're not even listening to what the person's telling us. We're already queuing up our response.
Sure. So, with that and those powerful, asking powerful questions and waiting for the answer and holding space until the person gives us the answer.
And waiting to actually think about the answer that they say. If you can even try that in your relationship that you're in right now, if you're having an argument with your partner, if you're arguing, just stop and listen to them, to what they have to say.
And a lot of times when you do that, they're more apt to stop and listen to what you have to say afterwards.
Yes.
And that's a nice little takeaway for everybody.
Absolutely. And just kind of listening. Yeah, listening and waiting for the answer, and then actually giving the person the respect of listening to what they have to say.
Right. And, if anything in here, it's built a great trust. So
yes,
we're kind of looking at around the halfway mark. If there's anybody out there who wants to call, we could start taking some calls. If not, we could talk a little bit more about what the Sacred Circle Ministry is about.
Yeah, talk a little bit about our plans going forward.
Well, let me just give everybody the number one more time if they didn't get it. It should be the number right above if you're on the website.
I got a text from someone saying that they're not sure how it works. You can use your cell phone, and you're going to see if you're on blogtalkradio.com/ Heart to Heart with the Hansons. There's going to be a bar up there, and it says guest call in. You can call in with that phone there, or you can call in for the guest call in.
Right.
Yes.
And the guest number, you could call in with that just like a regular telephone. You don't have to be on Skype. You could just dial the 916-889-9952 number, and you could dial it like a regular phone. It'll come up into the queue. The auto answer will bring you in, and when we get to you, we'll just hit you and call you in.
So, one thing I'd like to talk just a little bit about the future of our ministry, where we're planning to go. We're an interfaith ministry. We work with people with all faiths, and we're not religious-based. It's not anything like, oh, you have to be of this, background or this background. We just have a belief that with the spiritual foundation, it's easier to, for me, it was easier to...
We're open to your belief.
Absolutely.
And we respect your belief in the process, because you have to have your spiritual program that you're going to work.
Absolutely.
For you to get better.
Absolutely.
And sometimes when we come into these situations where we have a spiritual belief or lack of a spiritual belief, we don't really have an understanding of what our higher power, as some would say, what the universe, what God, what, spirit would mean to you. And sometimes it's through fostering that relationship with the divine or something bigger than yourself that you can really put your problems into perspective.
And, many people, especially people that have addictive tendencies, that have been in abusive relationships, that come from homes that are, dysfunctional, I didn't really. My mom took us to church the best she could. I made my sacraments, but I never really believed in the Catholic faith. I didn't really have any spiritual foundation, and for a good amount of my years, I didn't believe in anything. I even went through a phase where I was just, atheist. I didn't believe in God at all. I just didn't believe. I thought that the things that I did were so bad. That God, I was afraid to step into church. I felt like
I remember.
And I remember
that
when my daughter was ill for a long time, and I was taking my daughter to church, and my first husband was taking our daughter to church, and I felt like I couldn't go in there because if I went in there, I was going to make God angry, and maybe my daughter would get sicker. It was just this ridiculous thinking that I had.
We concoct all sorts of ideas in our mind.
Absolutely.
But growing up, I was just sort of the other end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
And, if Catholics were a biker group, I was part of the 1%ers with the way my mother was with the Catholic Church. I mean, you had to be on death's door if you were to get out of going to church on Sunday.
Yeah.
It was kind of crazy, but I grew up with the belief in God or something larger than myself.
Yes.
So I remember we've had some discussions how I couldn't really understand what that means to not have that belief.
And going through life, I couldn't imagine what it was like to have that belief. Like I said, when I got into the coaching program, they're talking about having a spiritual moment, having all this. I'm like, oh my God, they're doing that God talk. Here I am in another place where they're doing this God talk stuff. What does God have to do, or what does Spirit have to do with coaching? And really, it isn't so much about God.
No.
Through our ministry and through our business, we help or suggest that people investigate a spiritual belief system for themselves, because it does help having faith. It does help building a foundation and having a belief in something higher than yourself. And I found once I went through that, I rapidly started to get better and started to see things in a different light. So that's a little bit of the work that we do there.
Definitely. So, part of the work that I'm going to be doing, since we're doing couples coaching.
Coaching, yes. That's okay. It's
shame on me.
That's okay.
Couples coaching, we're going to be doing coaching as a couple together. We're also going to be doing coaching where we kind of separate apart. And, I'm going to be talking to the men. And we're going to be talking about, what it means to be a man in today's society and this culture. We have the media telling us all sorts of things of what we should be, who we should be, and, what a man is, or what a man, like those old commercials, well, only a man smokes Winston's, whatever. Basically, we're going to be finding out what a man does. We're going to talk about how a man deals with stepping up as a man. Mm-hmm. Responsibility and self-reliance. Those are things that really come into play in being a man. Because if a man is self-reliant, then his partner or wife or, significant other
absolutely
can count on him. That's simple. And then when your family can count on you, you become something bigger where your community can count on you.
Yes.
And when your community can count on you, you become a leader. And as men, I think a lot of times by doing this, we can become great leaders, and not just extended adolescence when we're younger, or some of us older people just, schlepping through life, kind of rolling along at the beat of our own drum, but really not getting a whole lot done. So there's a couple other things along with teaching courage and trust. Courage and trust are two of the cornerstones that we really believe in for the Sacred Circle ministry. You have to, this goes for men and women alike, you have to have courage to approach the trust.
Yes, and, while Leif is working with the men of the group, I'm going to be working with the women of the group. And as addicts, again, sometimes as women, you've lost your children, you've lost hope, you've lost faith, you've lost a lot. And we're going to begin, if you're already in recovery, I work with women that are in prison. I work with women anywhere. Whatever it's going to take to get you back on your feet, get you feeling good about your life again, and get you moving in a forward direction is what we're going to be doing in our ministry to help you. And on our show here every week, and we really invite you, if you're in a situation, if you're in a relationship, in a marriage, a long-term relationship or whatever, and you're having, you've overcome extraordinary odds, we would love to have you as a guest on our show, because each week we're going to feature a different couple with a different story that somehow, some way, coaching or hypnotherapy has gotten them through the rough times in their life.
Sure.
And next week we have a fabulous couple that's going to be joining us. They are an amazing and courageous couple. They've been married for over 20 years.
Right.
And after 20 years of marriage, her husband came down with sex addiction, was diagnosed as a sex addict, and just what that did to their relationship, and how they found recovery, and how they even went through relapse.
That's a lot.
It's an amazing story, and I really can't wait to get them on the show next week to share all the work that they did and everything that they faced to get to where they are today. Truly, truly brave souls. And here's an example again of, the man in the relationship stepping up, taking responsibility for his actions, and moving forward. So
perhaps there's other people out there who's hearing this broadcast that can benefit from this, benefit from the knowledge, benefit from someone else's story. I know we don't like to tell our story too much, but sometimes stories are healing if they're told in the right perspective. Being stuck in your story is being stuck and not being able to move forward. But telling a healing story is telling a story that helps propel forward.
Yes.
So that's kind of what we're looking to do. Keep people out of their stories while allowing them to take what they have and clean it up and move it forward into something they can be proud of.
So was there anyone that had wanted to come on? Or?
I don't see any callers yet.
Okay, well, you know what? That's fine. Was there anything else that you wanted to discuss, or anything that you wanted to go over? I mean,
on my stuff there,
or anything about the ministry in general, or about our.
Well, I would say we could go back and talk a little bit more here, I guess, if you wish. Or is there anything that?
Well, I like I said, I had wanted to make sure everyone tunes in next week. We're going to be doing this show once a week at 7 p.m. on Sundays, and see how that time frame works out.
Well, I would like to, for the music we had at the beginning intro, and what you'll probably hear on the exit, the song "Bad Bad Man" by Travis Bolin. I'd like to give some special thanks to that. It's a free licensing. Oh, looks like we do have someone caller on the line.
Someone was daring to call.
Awesome. Let's welcome him in. Hello, caller number 1. Are you there?
Hello. I'm here.
Hey, is this Brett?
This is.
How are you doing, Brett?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
We're doing good. We're having a little delay on this end. We've had some technical difficulties, but thank you for calling in.
How can we help you?
No, I just wanted to share that I'm really impressed with your dialogue and your conversation and your stories, and just a really amazing experience. You're doing an excellent job.
Oh, thank you very much. We're having a little bit of trouble hearing everything that you're having to say, but thank you very much for saying that. Would there be anything that you'd like to share possibly about your story, or anything that you've been through that you'd like to add?
Having a Faces of Compassion blog show myself personally, and interviewing people, I could relate to some of the things that you were sharing with your viewers. I had a really tough childhood, and I experienced sexual abuse, and alcoholism was a real apparent thing growing up in my family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, alcoholism always seems so prevalent.
Yeah, so consequently, that created a lot of issues for me personally, especially with not talking about your emotions, feelings, always blaming everybody, and, made it real difficult. It created a lot of confusion. And if you don't have any support or you don't have any encouragement, we just run riot, and we run to either drinking, alcohol, sex, or all the above, just to try to escape all the confusion and the pain that we experience. And I just think that what you guys are doing is absolutely amazing. The world really needs people like you being so compassionate and loving and being open yourself